My cuteness. How are you feeling today? Just take in this moment, ground where you are. Put your hands just like on your womb space, on your heart space, and just feel that for a moment. Breathing in to your womb and breathing out through your heart. Breathing into your womb and breathing out to your heart. One more time, breathing into your womb and breathing out through your heart. How are you? Today, we are talking all about healing the masculine. We're talking about understanding the male brain a little bit more so that you can create these healthy dynamics that will make him yearn for you, chase you, value you long term. This is the missing key that I see, especially right now with high value women, high achievers, ambitious women. A lot of us are in our masculine a lot of the time. That is causing this mismatch within relationships. And so we're going to be breaking that down today. And it really does come down to this aspect that I don't know about you, but I'm very frustrated with, because when it comes to understanding that, it's like, be available, but not too available. Be assertive, but not too assertive. Be sexy, but not too sexy. And it's so fucking frustrating because it's like, well, then what am I supposed to do? And the whole journey of this is to find your way back to self so that you can understand what makes you rare and valuable, because that's the thing that sets you apart from everyone else. I know for me, this was the biggest thing, that I didn't understand that I was rare and valuable. I was outwardly seeking someone to love me. I was hoping somewhere someone could love me enough that I would feel like I was chosen and that I was worth it. And they would protect me and they would lead me and they would guide me, because I didn't get that from my father. I had a father who was a traveling salesman. I had a father who doesn't do emotions. I have a father who he's not even a part of my life at this moment in time, because it's just not healthy for me for being on this journey of healing my own inner masculine. But if I can look at my relational patterns, if I can look at everything that's happened over the years, the way men treated me, which was abuse, which was neglect, which was I'm too much and my emotions are too much, and everything about me needed to be toned down. And I would do it because I just wanted to be chosen. I just wanted to feel like maybe their love could heal that wound. And at the time, I wouldn't even call it that wound. But if I look at my relationship pattern, it really was, can you love me enough for me to forget that I feel unlovable? Can you relate to that? And so I built this really successful career in hopes that maybe it would make me feel really lovable. And I chased all these external things. I thought if I got the abs, I thought if I got the success, and I was on magazines and I had the financial wins and I spoke to stages that were sold out. And each time it was this hungry ghost where I was like, shit, this isn't it. And it would just lead to healthy and unhealthy dynamics in my relationships. And so I found in relationships some core principles that we're going to dive in today. So this module for you today, module H, is for you if you struggle to speak up for yourself and draw boundaries within your relationships. If you get passive aggressive or you act like a doormat and you're expressing, instead of expressing your truth or your love, like you find yourself reacting in these ways that kind of feel like maybe a teenager or this version of yourself that you don't really identify with. But then when you're in partnership, you're like, what's going on here? This is for you if you kind of fear men. Not like, yes, you want to be in partnership with them, or masculine. It doesn't have to be gender based. It's just that masculine, but you're kind of afraid of it. You know, like you want that man that's going to claim you and lead you and, you know, like the Viking energy, but you find yourself attracting these nice guys. What's going on there? We're going to talk about that. If you find yourself as a serial monogamist, you know, you meet a guy, you get in a relationship, you break up, rinse, repeat, or you see potential in a date and you tend to laser focus on him and close yourself off from the attention of other people. These are very common things. And so in this session, what you're going to learn is how to harness your subconscious programming and how to power your brain around the masculine, what's going on there, what's happening underneath that these things keep being attracted, so that you can actually call in the healthy masculine man. And that's going to look different from, you know, my Viking to who you want to call into your life. And it really is your work to get crystal clear on what masculine is to you. Like, what do you want that relationship to look like? What do you want this person coming into your life to be? Like, what is masculine to you? Getting very clear on that. But in order to do that, we have to clean up and clear this masculine wound. I'm going to talk about how to assert yourself and set boundaries and get what you want without feeling like a bitch or feeling like you're mothering or feeling like you have to do it yourself and controlling. And we did talk a lot about controlling in the last aspect, but we're switching the roles, because controlling in that aspect was a lot of, we manipulate situations as women with our energy, where we'll lean in and it's switched as generous and all these kind of things, but in reality. And so controlling in this aspect, because we feel controlling when we have standards or boundaries, and we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about understanding the male brain and to make him fucking chase you and work for you and all that kind of stuff. And so the way to get you through that is to really heal your narrative about the masculine. And this might even not be the thing that you thought, right? I know when I first came into partnership and came into the relationship space, I was like, I fucking love men. I love the way that they are. All my friends are men. I'm the cool girl. Look at all these things. But I realized it wasn't the type of man, the man that I want in my life, the Viking, the protector, the leader, the guy that's fucking killing it in his job. Like, this type of person. I was actually really scared of that. Really fucking scared of them. And so it's healing your narrative around around the masculine, meeting your unmet needs from childhood, and then creating safety so that you can move forward, right? This isn't about playing games. This isn't about a rule book that you have to follow. None of this in this program is ever about that. This entire program is to find your way back home to yourself, without the triggers of your past getting in the way, without the things that you think that you're supposed to be, without thinking you're too much, too little, not enough, all this stuff. It's finding your way back home. So siphon things I say, right? You get to choose how this looks for you. You get to choose all this kind of stuff. And this isn't about playing games. It's understanding that your end goal is to find love. And so people like us that have our open hearts, that are embodied, that are empaths, like, we just want to give love. Like, it's just like this, like, I want to give it and I'm protected and whatever. Like, we have this dance and it just comes so naturally. So when someone comes, we're like, oh, yes, like, I want to be my authentic, like, this is what I want to do. Your art is pacing yourself here. Your art is understanding that it's not closing that off. But if you ultimately want to get to what you want, just a soulmate kind of love, your art as a feminine is to pace, not match the masculine intensity. That's not a game. That's not a game where it's like, he didn't text me back, so I'm not texting him back for this long, and like, that's not how it is. You're doing the work to understand how their brain works, how you work, and shifting your patterns so you can ultimately get what you want and create safety, because oftentimes we're reacting from these spaces of need and insecurity rather than you're fucking rare and valuable, so he better fucking step it up and rise to the occasion, right? And so feminine does not mean woman, masculine does not mean man. The energetics are not gender-based, right? And so we both have these energetics inside of them, and so inside of us, and so it's learning how to play with them. And so when it comes to healing the masculine, that means healing your inner masculine, which often comes from healing your father wound. Oftentimes what I can see in my clients is their relationships match the relationship they had with the father. Either it was toxic, or they're trying to get their unmet needs, they're trying to be seen, or they're trying to prove themselves and earn it, or their dad is just so amazing and like they can never do any wrong in their dad's eyes that their standards are actually self-sabotaging them. And we're going to talk about standards in today's session because standards are so fucking important and it means you have confidence. But there's these dynamics. Every client I've ever had, their relationship patterns, I can just ask, like, what was your relationship with your father like? And I can see it right there. And so what do you do about that? Right. And so it's looking at, where in your relationship history was it that you had to dim your light, your shine, your ability to be seen? That's how it was a lot for me, that I am a loud personality. I was that kid when I was younger. I'd throw things on the ground and I'd stand on it and be like, everyone look at me. And I have this showmanship, but it pissed off my dad and it pissed off every boyfriend I had. And so I dulled that. And so I dimmed that until I healed this within myself. And there was this other aspect where I was like, okay, if I can't be all that I am, can I earn it? So I became really successful. I wanted to prove that I wasn't a fuck up like I was in my teens. So my 20s, after I got out of domestic violence and drugs, it was like, can I earn your love? And I would do this, and this is a very people-pleasing tendency. Can I become just the good girl that doesn't speak up too much, that doesn't cause trouble, that isn't too sexual, that isn't too wild and free, and is trying to be understood, even though I'm not someone that's understood, just like you're not. You're so unique and you're so you. But because we're trying to get chosen, we shut that part down. When really that's blocking us, because the thing that makes you rare and valuable is the thing that makes you memorable. And the thing that makes you memorable is the fact that you're unique and you're you and you're wild and you're out there and you have these passions and you have this mission. And when you can heal the masculine, it's not about going after these passions and these things from a space of, can I earn this? No. It's from a space of, I fucking love myself, so I'm going to try. And I'm okay even if it doesn't work. And it's not from a wound or a hungry ghost. It's from this like curiosity and wonder. And it's from a space of love and abundance. That's the same thing with love, like going into relationships. And if we haven't healed this father wound, if we haven't healed our own inner masculine, we're often looking for these people to come into our lives and repair that, right? Like I wanted partners to take care of me. I wanted partners to provide for me. I wanted partners to tell me, good job. You're successful. Good job. I'm so proud of you. And although that's so nice to hear from your partner, they can't meet the unmet needs of your past and your younger self. And you're going to continually trying to find, and I bet you, if you go back to the 5 people you've dated, that's what you're looking at. You're looking at that type of hungry ghost within yourself that you've been trying to get, that you didn't get from your dad or the masculine caretaker in your family. So how can you go about your day-to-day looking at this, right? Is it more structure? Is it more discipline? I write my wins every night and I let myself really feel how proud of myself I am. And I have younger self days where sometimes it's like, I take myself to go get ice cream if I had a really good day. I had, when I was a kid, and wanted double ear spears. So I like went recently and got my ears double. Well, I did it myself because they sell it on Amazon now, but double pierced my ears because my 16-year-old self wanted to do that and wanted to, it's just checking in, going back to module A and going through that younger self work and looking at that part where the masculine ruptured for you. For me, that was 16. So I visit that part of myself a lot because that's where I need to repair that. How can I provide for myself in that? What do I need? Someone checking in on me, someone making sure that my fridge is full of food, someone making sure that I have discipline and things are getting done, and making sure that when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. My word is law. And so it's the consistency. That's a big thing with the masculine. We want a man that's going to be consistent, but are you being consistent with yourself? Look at how you're doing this program. right? We want a man that's, dedicated to us. Where are you being fully dedicated to something? How are you showing up in your masculine for you, or are you waiting for someone to save you? There is no knight in shining armor. There isn't. My goal for you in this program is that you become such a whole and complete human being that you attract a whole and complete human being. If you are coming at this of like, I haven't healed this masculine wound, I haven't healed my fatherhood wound yet, you are going to draw someone in that is also incomplete. That's how that's how it works. Look at your dating history. I can almost guarantee it. They have an unmet need that they want you to meet. And you have an unmet need that they have them to meet, as opposed to, I am whole and complete. I have my inner father, I have my masculine, I have my mother, I have my feminine. So when that person comes, I'm not looking for them to complete me. They're just a value add, which means I'm choosing them. I don't need them. And that energy is so magnetic. That energy of like, I don't need you, is like, their dick gets hard because it's like, wow, you're not needy. You're not like my kid. I don't have to take care of you. And then they're like, oh, what is this? This gets to be easy. This gets to be fluid. Who is this woman? We're not a damsel in distress. If we're a damsel in distress, we're pulling in these fix-it guys. And you know how fucking frustrating those are. They're like, fix all these things and let me wound you. And it's a toxic trauma, twin flame, which is bullshit. Those are trauma bonds. Partnership. We're trying to get you to the state of high value partnership, which means complete. Which means you have to own your side of the street and starting to look at, where have I been? Go back to the 5 relationships you've been in. Where have I been trying to get my needs met? In the last 5 relationships that I've been in, that I haven't been meeting myself. And we're going to talk about this more in the next module, because we're going to talk about inner strengths and worthiness. But this is a good piece to look at, because you can see through the repetition of the people that are coming in. And so if you want to shift your pattern, you shift how you show up for yourself in this. And also your relationship to the masculine, how you speak about men. This is a big one. I hear it all the fucking time and it drives me nuts. Men are boys, and then all these things. Even when, like, if you want your man to be a leader, you speak to him like he's a leader. I don't like to say God because there's only one God and I hate the word king, but speak to him as the elevated state, even when he's being a fucking idiot. Do you trust him? Even when my partner and I broke up and I didn't necessarily agree with like parts of it, we had our conversation in our closing and I was like, I trust you. Like, you're leading. And I did that because the next person in my life, I still want to see him in his light as the leader. And if that's what he's leading to, okay, the next person's going to lead towards me, but I'm not going to bash men, because then what kind of man are you going to call in? And that's so hard. And that's the work of the feminine pain body, because we've been hurt. Our hearts have been bruised. We're pissed at people lying, cheating, stealing our hearts, doing the things. But it's like, you choose where your love goes and what narrative you tell yourself, so that your subconscious calls in the next best thing after that. And so I knew it was like, okay, I mean, whatever, your loss. And I'm going to sit here and still see you in your light, because the masculine, I love the masculine. That's not, if they love me, then I love them, and I create this conditional trauma bond codependency with the masculine. No, I love the masculine. If that's where they're leading, that's where they're leading. Thank you for the lesson. So if you want to see, that's an instant choice you can make right now. Every single man that you come in contact with, can you see him in his brilliance? And watch how your relationship with the men around you change. And it doesn't necessarily mean they all have to be in your life. It doesn't necessarily mean your father or your brother or whoever hurt you is in your life. but you can still see them in light. They call it in Al-Anon, loving them from a distance. Detaching with love is what they call it. That's what I've done with my father. I detach with love. And so there's no pain, there's no trauma being stored, there's no narrative that's blocking me from actually calling in a high value man, because I believe men are high value. You'll never hear me say a bad thing. So be aware of what you say, what men say, what your friends say, all that kind of stuff. And the next thing is asserting yourself and setting standards without being a bitch. And so this comes into, what are your non-negotiables and what are your preferences? And a big thing is, a lot of us are surrounding ourselves, because of our poor relationship with the masculine, with a whole bunch of red flags. And it's like, this is my non-negotiable. This is my non-negotiable. And we're confusing non-negotiable with preferences. And then we're running around like freaking assholes. No, pick 3 non-negotiables. A little fly going around. Summertime. Pick 3 non-negotiables. The rest are preferences. Mine are God, growth driven, health conscious. There's other things, there's standards, but like, if you get so hung up on non-negotiables, you're missing the people in front of you. And there's a difference between having standards and self-sabotaging. And so getting crystal clear on what your non-negotiables are and what your preferences are. And you're allowed to have preferences, obviously. But don't let that stop you from going on a second date, a third date, a fourth date. If it's against your non-negotiables, which are your values, that makes sense. But don't get confused on these things. And this is where it's like, I don't want to be a bitch, or, these things or this thing, and asserting yourself. Like, we mistake feminine for being a doormat or people pleasing or being a bitch, like our mothers, if you had a mother like mine. This bug is driving me nuts. But it's not. Feminine is actually it's the strength, it's the pull, it's the thing that has led tribes for fucking centuries. It's wise, it's the strength, it's the volcano that chooses not to erupt. And so harnessing that and knowing that you have this power inside of you, and this is actually what is your light. This is the part that, sets the standard. And the truth is, women, I know I'm talking in circles for a second, but women that get the good guys, women that, get the high value guys, they have high standards. I have high standards. I have legitimately had partners say, for someone that's been through so fucking much, it's interesting how high your standards are. They were very low value men. Obviously, we dumped them. But my standards are high because and my standards are high because of how I treat myself. I will never expect a man to do something for me that I don't do. I treat myself nicely. I dress in nice things. I drink good things. I actually need to drink water. That's why I said drink nice things. I have a beautiful home. I take care of myself every day, my spiritual practice, my physical practices, my mental health. I go to therapy. I'm surrounded by an incredible community. I show up for myself when I need it. I rest when I need it. My heart is in my business for you guys. I never expect a man to give me any of the things that I'm seeking. I do it myself. I set the standard and he matches that. We're going to talk about this in the worthiness module. But your standard is how you treat yourself. When you have that lens of, I love myself so much, we're going to talk about a commitment ceremony and all these kind of things. But when you commit to yourself of your love, of never settling again, of how you show up for yourself, of what you eat, of how you touch yourself, of the stuff that touches your body, of how you spend your money, of the way that you spend your day, anyone that doesn't match that, like, it's that filter of your head of like, if I wouldn't do that to me, then why would I allow that to be done to me? that attracts a high value man. Does it slim your dating pool a little bit? Of course, because when you have standards like that, you're gonna get people that are like, I don't want to play this game. Not this game, but like, I don't want to play in this arena. I want something that's easy. I want something that's convenient. I want something, and perfect, get the fuck out of my arena. Don't lower your standards because it's easier and there's more fish. You're a high value woman. Own that. Don't think that that's going to intimidate anyone. Don't think that that's going to push anyone away. But when you have these high standards, there's ways of communicating effectively. You know, like if someone's, you know, hitting you up or like texting you last minute to do something, it's just like, yeah, I actually just made other plans because I hadn't heard from you, but let me know if a time later this week works. Like, you don't have to be a bitch about these things. You don't have to teach them a lesson like their mother. It's just sitting in spaces where it's like, I wouldn't do that to me. So, and it's just like, yeah, like, and you get to teach them what your standards are because a lot of people don't know that. Or if like they text you late at night or whatever and you just don't fucking answer because you don't stay up that late. And that's like you could have seen it. I've had this happen where it's like they'll text late and it's like, I don't answer my phone after 9. So I'll text you in the morning. I'll be like, good morning. Like I actually went to bed early. And like they know what your standards are. If they text you last minute for something, like surprise dating is fine, but not when they haven't earned it yet and they don't know you and they haven't spent time with you enough to do that. So it's just like, you know, I actually have plans tonight, but thank you so much. Let me know a little bit more in advance, and winky face, smiley face, whatever. It doesn't have to be this big deal. It just is you communicate it in like a flirty way of what your standard is because you know and you love yourself. It doesn't mean you're bitchy. It means you have self-respect, and that will attract like freaking flies to a light the right men. Trust me on that. The reason we don't want to do this is because we're like, well, what if they think I'm a bitch? What if they don't text me? What if they don't plan the date? Then they're not the person for you. That's not rejection. That's making space for the right person. Why would you want someone that doesn't match what you want in this world? Why would you lower yourself just so you don't get that rejection wound? It's not a rejection wound. They just made space for the right person to come in. Thank you very much, sir. Like I said, when we're going through a breakup or going through like a fling ending, it's always like, wow, that person just made space for the right because they can't love me in the way that they're meant to. You get to reframe all these things. And so it's really looking at what are your standards, setting your standards, and then keeping your option open until someone meets it. Don't get laser focused on one person. Don't get, you know, we do this thing where it's like, oh, we think the best thing is dating someone and then, you know, we laser focus on them and this gives us a better chance. No, if the person isn't claiming you or showing up for you, that actually dims your chance. Because how many times have you been in a relationship for 3 to 4 months and then you figure out the actual juicy stuff because the fling is over and it doesn't work and now you're back in the market when you could have been dating that whole time. But because you lowered the standards and we got attached at the wrong moments with the wrong people at the wrong time with someone who hasn't even claimed you or showed you that they are worthy of your time. And we didn't want to seem like a bitch or that we have these standards or that we're whatever. It's like, this is my standard. This is who I am. I'm going to date. I'm going to do this. You pick me up. Call me consistently. You're not a bitch. You're setting the thing. And we have to model that sometimes, right? Don't mirror poor behavior. That's the biggest thing here is like, do not mirror someone's shitty ass behavior that's below your standard. If you want to talk on the phone, call them once to set the standard of this is what you like. And then if they don't match you, they're not the one. Like they don't match you then. Stop making poor excuses and lowering your standards for the people that aren't meant for you. We're covering this way more in the next module when we talk about worthiness and embracing your inner strengths and all that stuff, how to embrace your inner strengths without, you know, losing your feminine. Okay, and so the last one is understanding the male mind. This one is so good. And so the behaviors that make a man hungry for you, like he's hot and bothered and just desires you, and it's like it's not only physically, but it's like this emotional attraction to you for the long term, is so fucking different than business, than friendships. It's a different energy, and this is where we all get so confused, because we're going at the relationships with the same tenacity and the same energetics and the same behaviors that we do all the other things in our life, and it's different. And again, it's not a game, it's just understanding the person so that you can ultimately get your soulmate love, because sometimes, especially the first 2 weeks, like we are shooting ourselves in the foot by texting them first, by saying thinking about you text, by calling, by literally being in these like doing behaviors of initiating communication and like asking them out, and just planning things, doing things. What are you doing? Da, 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 da. Like that whole moment of like, oh, where should we go on a date? It's like, I've said this before. I was like, I actually suck at making decisions, or like, and I would love it if you would do it. Smiley face, winky face, kissy face, whatever, like flirty things. It's like inviting them into that leadership role, but never doing it. But we do this thing where it's like, we're so used to being in our masculine because we do this with friends. We do this with our work, that is like, oh, it's okay, we'll collaborate on this, or it's okay, like I'll text him first just because I'm going to be in my like leader feminine whatever. That's not feminine, that's masculine. My methods, when I go out, I'm like, I never talk to anyone first. I will hold eye contact. That's how you can start the conversations. Why I don't really like Bumble, but you hold an extended eye contact, maybe a little smirk, and then you look down. Makes him come to you, chases you, because at the core, men love to chase. They're natural born hunters. That is their primal brain. Don't take that from them. Yes, there are some times where it's like you can do the little things after a while, but in the beginning, especially the first 2 weeks, let him come to you. Let him plan. Let him chase. Let him pursue. Text you first. Wonder what you're doing. Because we do this thing where our brains get ahead of us on the first freaking swipe, where we like, is this my person? Am I dating him? And this, look at how cute our kids would be. And like, we do that. Men don't do that. Men do not do that. That is a longer term game when they get to know you, but they hot and heavy at first. Your job, and I cannot emphasize this enough, is to pace. You will save yourself so many bruised hearts if you just pace. Yes, of course he thinks you're fucking great. Of course he wants to see you every day of the week. Of course he wants to take you out and text you all day long and do all the things. Once or twice a week. Not texting all day long. Pace it. Your job is to pace it. Slow it down. Be the feminine, soft, relaxed. And it's going to feel so fucking foreign because you are so used to pursuing, so used to chasing, so used to doing all these behaviors that have gotten you far in life. I get it. But the feminine is to soften. And so the 3 parts that men love that keep them around. And this is why in Healing to Happy, we have the triangle: living sanctuary, savage CEO, and sacred slut. Nurturing, in your purpose, sexual. These things are what a man wants. These things are who you are naturally. You probably shut parts of this down or over amplified others because your life and circumstances and masks and things like that. But the goal is all 3. That's what keeps them around. And so living sanctuary is that feminine, is the soft, is the nurturing, is the like playful, is the loving, is you at the core. And we think of this a lot where it's like, feminine, I get my hair done, I do my nails, I do my stuff. Like, no, you just look like a female. That's not what it is. Feminine is being open, is being love. How open, go back and do the heart coherence from the celebration module. How open to your heart can you be? How can you choose love in each moment without attachment? How can you let go and see through the lens of love instead of fear? Feminine is receiving. Feminine is soft and in the flow of life and like imaginative and creative, and she's so in her body. And like, this is like when you go on dates, it's just like, how in your body can you be? Can you tap into your five senses? Can you just be like, this is so good? Like, just like being in your body instead of thinking, is this my husband? Is this my, am I planning? And then I'm leaning in and then I'm controlling and then I have to act this way so that I can get this way. No. Nurturing is just like soft. Think of the times in relationship when your man has come alive for you and he was in his masculine. Who are you being? Probably playful, probably so relaxed, probably just like letting him take care of you. That's it. That's that juicy point that we want to keep for attraction. And then we have this sacred slut. This is the sexual. This is the sensual. This is your expression. And this is, this is going to be a whole other program and modules because it's a whole thing that I'm going to talk about inside of Arrival. But that part of you that's sexy, like where you just have to give him a look and he knows it's about to go down. And it doesn't mean being half naked like all the freaking people on the internet or booties and popping and all this stuff. Like, that's not it. It's you and what sexual means. And being sexual that starts outside the bedroom. Like, what's your health like? How are you feeling? What are your routines like? What's your sleep like? Like, all of this stuff affects our sex life. How sexy do you feel in your day-to-day? And if you don't feel sexy, where are you adding that into your life? It's not about orgasms. It's about being turned on by your life, connecting to your womb space. You're going to see that in the embodiment practice, connecting to the energy down there, doing Kegels, opening yourself up, connecting back to your lower body. A lot of us are in this heart coherence where it's like, I'm thinking and I'm connecting to my heart. And we're like from this top up approach, forgetting this whole other lower body that we have. Like, do some Kegels right now while you're listening to me. Connect to that lower body. That's your sexual energy. This is, dancing is a huge one. Doing cat-cow in yoga, like opening your body up before you go on dates, or doing Kegels while you're on dates. Like, open up the fact that this is your wisdom and you hold that power. Let him see that side of you and like explore that side of you by yourself first. Too many times we're like, I'm waiting for him to initiate me into this like sexy slut hair. No. How many times did you think they just like went to school and they learned some like secret slut stuff and secret sex stuff that they're going to teach you? No. Only you know your body. Spend time getting to know your body. Go stand naked in front of the mirror. Go grab a mirror. Go between your legs. Touch your body. Like, a way to fucking, a practice we do in school is like just holding your body in a way that feels good. Like, what type of touch feels so good for you? Do you even know what feels good as you like hold yourself and you touch yourself and you're alive for yourself? These things matter. It is like, we think, oh, well, if I tell him what I want, he's going to think I'm a slut. Or if I tell him what I want, he's going to think this about me and that about me. And he's going to, I don't know, be emasculated. No. A man is literally begging to know how it is you like to be touched. And there's a way of doing it where it's like, if you want it to slow down too, where it's like you're in the bedroom and you're doing these things where it's like, they're quick. Men are like a fucking skillet. We're like a slow burn, right? Slow burn, where it's like, oh, slow down. I love the way that you kiss my neck there. Like, just slow down. I love it when your hands are here. Can you put your hands right here? It doesn't have to be like, whoa, 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 boy, slow down. Like, it doesn't have to be this emasculation. It's like guiding his hands where you want them, like slowing him down. Being like, I love it when we just make out on this couch. You can slow him down in the moment. And then if you're in long-term partnership, it really is like, you can have conversations about this. It matters. Like, don't do it in the bedroom. Don't do it in the heat of the moment. And you're like yelling at him and you're like, and you don't fucking lick my clit. Like, those things. But it's like, there's a time and a place. Like you can do it when you're on a walk, and it's like, you know, like I would really love if our sex life was just, I want to make sure you're satisfied in the bedroom. Like, you okay talking about sex right now? I realize we don't really talk about it. But like, how are you in the bedroom? Is there anything that you would like me to do? And like hearing that and then be like, yeah, like I would love for you to do that. Like it gets to be this casual conversation. It might fucking swell your throat up at first and you might bite back at first because we all have egos. But like starting the neutralization around sex is so powerful and they're begging for it. They're begging for it. And right now, I forget what study it was where it was like, we women like to be dominated in the bedroom. A lot of us are craving it. I know I was. But it's like men are afraid to do that. I forget what study it was. It was by Man Talks. He was talking about some woman. And it's like men, we all want it, but like afraid of doing it. And so it's just having these conversations, inviting it in because we want it. And that's how it is. And how can you start to live your life in a turned on way? Walking around wearing white is a very like purification way of opening things. Like just where can you turn yourself on? I do it with clothes. I make sure like when I'm putting lotion on my body, it's slow. I take candlelit baths, candlelit showers. I dance often. I move my hips. I stretch my hips daily. I dress nice. I smell nice. I touch my body, you know. I just am very appreciative of this form, which has taken time, right? After sexual assault and an intense eating disorder that almost took my life. It's like those things take time, but you can get there the more you practice. It's gonna feel foreign as fuck at first, but he cannot invite you into your sexual awakening. That is only you. And then the next part is the purpose, is the savage, is the CEO. A lot of times I hear like, yeah, I'm not a priority. You don't feel like a priority because you haven't found your purpose or you're not aligning with your purpose and you started to self-abandon when you're in relationship. And that's why you try to avoid relationships because you're afraid that it'll take you away from your purpose and you don't think you can have both. You can have both. Your success isn't going to intimidate a high value man. He's going to fucking love it. He's going to want to celebrate you, support you. He's going to be your biggest fucking fan. Your passion is so fucking hot. Men love someone in their purpose, and it doesn't have to be your business, but something you're passionate about. Reading, cooking, baking, your fitness, philanthropy, traveling, like something you do on your own that is you, that is so unique to you, that is your purpose, that benefits the collective. Men fucking love that shit. Because he's going to feel like shit if he's in his purpose. Because men, you will never be number one in a man's life. And he should never be number one in yours. You will never be number one. When you want to be number one, that's from a feminine pain body. A man that's in his purpose, you will never have to question. He'll make you feel like you're number one, but you never will be. This is another thing to decipher. If a man's not in his purpose, don't fucking date him. After over the age of 30, 31 to 34, if a man's not in his purpose, it is like us when we're trying to get our eggs lubed up and ready, and we have that crisis of like that. Men, if they haven't fulfilled themselves in their purpose and found their purpose and have their success in their careers, that is theirs. They're not going to be able to focus on you if they don't have their purpose. And if you don't have your purpose, you're going to be fighting for being a priority. And you never are going to be the number one. But if he is in his purpose, he's going to make you feel like you're number one. So look at your life. Where are you not aligning with your purpose, your savage? Where in relationship are you hiding that part of yourself? It's not going to intimidate him. He's going to be like, fuck. But there is that balance, right? Where is that transition from the savage CEO to the living sanctuary, to this part of yourself? It's you have that, but you're not bringing that into your relationship. I call it the transition. I was talking to my friend, she called it code switching. I guess that's like in theater or something, but it's code switching. You come in, I go for a walk after work before meeting up with a partner because it's like, I want to get back into my feminine. I'll take a shower. I wash my hands sometimes if I have to do it quick just to get the energy off. I'll do a cleansing meditation to just get back into the feminine before I'm with my man, because you get to have it all. You really fucking do. And pretending like you're not is fucked. And so it's about, in this process, keeping polarity. Polar, you can't have too masculine. That doesn't work. That's not a magnet. You need feminine and masculine. And the thing is, if you want a masculine man, you need to be in your feminine. This needs to be the thing that you work on. You need to revisit this often and checking in. Where can I open my heart? How can I soften? How can I receive? Continue revisiting these embodiment practices and diving deeper into what these blocks are and what shadows are coming up, because too many times I'm seeing clients show up on their dates in this like masculine energy from work, from these parts of themselves, and they need to be more laid back, more relaxed. Instead, they're attracting the partners that are more relaxed, more passive, no plan to move forward, no plan about really anything. That's the polarity, because if you want the soulmate kind of love, if you want this kind of thing, you have to be in that version so you can call in the masculine. Is that making sense? Where it's like, you'll attract men at any stage. You're gorgeous and you're stunning and you're fucking unique as shit. But if you want a masculine man, just like a magnet coming together, these will repel each other. So you have to be in your feminine in order to attract their leadership, instead of challenging them or feeling these ways or doing this stuff and planning and doing and texting them first and all this stuff. That's not to say later down the line you can't be cute and stuff, but like in the beginning, if you're coming in and you're planning and you're doing and you're like, oh, but I'm just being nice. No, that's your people pleaser. Again, that's us trying to control. It's a sneaky fucking way generosity shows up in the feminine, but it's masculine. It really is. And so, you know, you will attract men at every stage, but if you want that soulmate love and you want that leadership, this is the part that you have to look up. So today we covered, let me scroll up to the top. Today we covered how to harness the subconscious power of your brain that hasn't healed from the masculine in order to call in a healthy masculine man. We talked about how to assert yourself, set your standards without being a bitch. And then we talked about understanding the male brain so that he will chase you. I love this one. It's so good. And so in your homework, you're going to see the embodiment practice. We're going to do some womb stuff, because we keep just like in our hips, we store our pain from the masculine, thinking about the men that have been inside of us, the pain, the discomfort that we feel in our body. There's a lot there. So we're going to do some womb work around that. We're going to heal the womb, and we're going to release the stuck energy, the masculine energy. I love a yoni egg for this, an amethyst yoni egg, but I know that could be far out there for some people, but it really does help. Other than that, we're just going to be massaging the womb like every morning and tapping into that. And then you're going to have your journal prompts to dive deeper into this. Again, daily practice is key. Stick to your masculine, stay dedicated, stay in alignment with this, make it through the finish line, revisit this as often. Like the discipline in this is how you change this in your life. It's an everyday practice. It's just like stretching. It's just like drinking water. Like in order to change the neural pathways, it has to be a daily commitment. It really does. And so the journal prompts are there to support you in that. And so you'll see that. And then in the next, I was about to say next episode. In the next episode, we're going to be talking about embracing your inner strength and your worthiness. And really, this is for you if you get self-conscious around your power intimidating men, and what to do about that so that it actually is this turn on to them. And they're like, holy fuck, like this is really that savage polarity to bring in. If dating feels like a drag and it's pulling your energy down and you're feeling self-conscious and you're feeling tired and you're like, my eggs are baking, what am I doing? We're going to talk about how to strengthen your insides, meaning your vibe, your energy alignment, and your self-confidence, so you can become this magnet for high-value men, and so that you can call in a soulmate, say this year. That's the vibe, right? And then we're going to be ready to show that this is for you if you're ready to show more of your inner seductress to the world, so that you can attract a man that is meant for you and only you. And it's like this authentic expression of yourself. So it's a really fucking good one. This is going to be so good. And I'm really excited. So come hang out inside a Telegram. Show me what's going on, what's coming up for you. Let's start a conversation. I know we have our live call coming soon. If you're watching this, if you're in our live version, or if you're watching the replay of this, you're good. I love you anyways. And well, we have live calls anyways, but it might not be in alignment for when this is. But I'll see you inside your Telegram regardless. So I love you. Happy healings. Bye.